Aloha, everybody. Dr. Clifton Otto here. And today I just wanted to do a brief recap of a presentation that I gave to start off Medical Cannabis Day 2022. It appears that there were some technical difficulties with that presentation, so I just wanted to capture that again here for you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and run that presentation. So happy Medical Cannabis Day 2022, everybody. Special thanks to everyone that contributed to making this day possible, especially Brent and Maggie and their team for all the effort that went into making this day a reality. I was also pleased to learn that one of our dispensaries was a sponsor for this year's event. Just a few disclosures. I'm a cannabinoid medicine specialist, certifying physician for Hawaii's Medical Cannabis Program. I'm not a member or consultant for any dispensary, and I do not receive any compensation from Medical Cannabis Day. So I just wanted to briefly go into the origins of Medical Cannabis Day. This started at the beginning of 2019 when I was looking for ways to raise awareness about the significance of the state-authorized medical use of cannabis in Hawaii and how to come up with solutions for ending the ongoing federal conflict. Here's a little bit of background about our Medical Use of Cannabis Act, of course, signed into law by Governor Cayetano June 14th, 2000, went into effect December 28th of that same year. And it was codified within our Uniform Controlled Substances Act under Chapter 329. That's why you see that number on the registration cards. Part 9, Medical Use of Cannabis. And so we already have a day associated with one type of use of cannabis. And so I thought if there can be a day for that particular culture, why can't there be a day for our medical cannabis patients? And that day to me seems pretty obvious because June 14th was the day that our state exercised its authority to decide how cannabis is used within the state. And so I picked June 14th as that day. And there was a little bit of confusion about whether it was really June 14th or June 15th. So I took a little trip down to the state archives and looked up that original document to verify that. And here is that signature, June 14th, 2000, the signature of Governor Cayetano there. So it was important for me to see that and to clarify that date. Then went on to gather some artistic elements and create a logo. And that first year in 2019 was really just a very small event that I shared with a few advocates, had some T-shirts printed up that I gave away for free. We filed a proclamation request with Governor Ige May 10th, 2019, and actually took us 3 years of requests to finally get Governor Ige to proclaim 2021, last year, as Medical Cannabis Day for the state of Hawaii. So we're very grateful for that. And when this event initially started off, it was primarily a virtual event, an educational event. And this is a poster from last year's event that I thought was really quite spectacular. Some very good speakers and a lot of great information conveyed to our patients and to the community. This year's a little bit different. There is a bit of a baton passing going on. I have stepped back from this event and was not involved at all in the organization, and turned this over to our local advocacy groups because it felt like it was time for them to take this over, and it's been really gratifying to see how this event can evolve to meet the needs of our patients. It also was necessary for me to step back a little bit in order to avoid direct involvement with access, which is still an issue with this whole federal conflict. There is still a lot of work to be done, and you may have heard about the dual use task force that's currently underway. There are national organizations that are having a significant effect on this task force that apparently don't have much regard for the negative impact that the federal conflict is having upon our patients. And so we really need to be on top of these changes to make sure that our patients' needs are being considered. There's also a lot of work that needs to be done with law enforcement. I think there's still a general attitude that medical cannabis is a joke. It's just a stepping stone for recreational legalization. And part of this may be due to the training that our local law enforcement receives from its federal counterpart. There's this thing called concurrent jurisdiction, which can actually turn our state law enforcement officers into federal agents. And perhaps that's part of the reason why our Office of the Attorney General is hesitant to support solutions to end this federal conflict. So just want to make a quick point here. Special thanks to Dale for pointing this relationship out to me. And I'm going to make use of this greater sign, mathematical symbol. I think we could all say that mathematically this is a true statement. 614 is greater than 420. I hope from a cultural perspective, this can also be true, and that Medical Cannabis Day can be much greater than this 420 holiday, and that we can really recognize the importance of legitimate medical use in Hawaii, which is really such a unique state. Unlike any other state in the union, we have a very interesting geographic consideration, since we have exquisite control over our state boundaries, which can impact how we develop the purely intrastate medical use of cannabis. And in my mind, based on what I've seen from my patients and my scientific and medical knowledge of the endocannabinoid system, this is really a medicine. And I wish we would just stick to medicalizing its use legitimately. I feel also there's far greater commercial potential in developing the medical use of cannabis in Hawaii compared with the short-term possible gains from adult use legalization. We also have the far-reaching healthcare benefits of cannabis, and I see cannabis as a possible cornerstone for developing a sustainable healthcare model in Hawaii to help patients get off of a lot of their prescription medications and potentially save a lot of money for our local medical insurance companies. And we also have a very unique situation in Hawaii because of the ability of patients to grow their own cannabis and make their own medicine. And I believe this is also unique to Hawaii because of the high quality sunlight that we have year round here. And this is a right that I believe needs to be preserved and something that needs to be carried into the future, whatever future legislation looks like. So we also have a resolution that was unanimously adopted by both chambers of our state legislature in 2021. And that requests the Department of Health to file for a federal waiver for the state authorized medical use of cannabis in Hawaii. And this is currently sitting with the Department of Health, but I think this is a very significant step for our state because it's the first time that our legislature has really expressed its will that the current situation is unacceptable and something needs to be done about it. So I think at this point, it's really going to be up to the patients to organize and to be able to have a unified voice that can be expressed to our state lawmakers next session, because there is going to be a big push for recreational legalization, and our state could make the same mistakes which is all the other states are making, which is to expand activity that violates federal drug law. So we're going to have even more participants that are going to be subjected to these negative unintended consequences. So that's also part of Medical Cannabis Day, to allow and encourage patients to organize and stand up for their rights under our Medical Use of Cannabis Act. And so today is also Flag Day. And as in previous years, I submitted a flag flying request to one of our congressional delegates that was approved. And the weather in DC on June 14th was 83 degrees Fahrenheit, partly cloudy. So I have a pretty good suspicion that this flag was flown on Medical Cannabis Day over the state, over the nation's capital. And so I'd like to read that to you now. This is to certify that the accompanying flag was flown over the United States Capitol on June 14th, 2022. This flag was flown at the request of the Honorable Kaili'i Kahele, Member of Congress, on the 22nd anniversary of Hawaii's Medical Use of Cannabis Act, and presented to the people of Hawaii in honor of our 34,000 plus medical cannabis patients who must violate federal drug law to participate in the state authorized medical use of cannabis in the beautiful Aloha state. Who knows, maybe someday there will be a museum exhibit on Medical Cannabis Day, and this flag will be part of that exhibit. In any way, anyways, today is also a special day because it is a full moon, super moon they're calling it, and hopefully that will provide some additional illumination to today's event. So I just hope all of you will stay safe, take care of each other, and protect the spirit of Medical Cannabis Day. This day is for you, so please enjoy it. Aloha.